For the latest, let's cross to our correspondent in Beirut, Leila Moulana Allen. Leila, tell us more about what's happening today.
This has been, without a doubt, the most violent day so far of these protests that have been going on for 3 months. Earlier in the day, everything very quiet, just a few small protests after a very active week this week. And then a group of protesters went to the parliament and started trying to get through the barriers there, which have been manned by riot police really since these protests began. Very quickly, the riot police responded with water cannon, which is quite rare for them to use. Many of the protesters felt that that was an unnecessary reaction. And from there, many more protesters arrived, and really we saw violent clashes throughout the evening. Over 4 hours, continuous clashes all across downtown Beirut. Clouds of tear gas everywhere. Hundreds of canisters were fired by riot police, and they were using rubber bullets too, at quite close range. Horrific injuries. We were seeing people with bleeding injuries, bleeding mouths, some shot at as they tried to run away. And many protesters and some human rights groups saying that what's happened today with these attacks by riot police on the protesters goes against the law in terms of what they're allowed to do with proportionate force. We also saw attacks by protesters on banks today, and of course that's been ongoing this week. One of the themes this week has been smashing the facades of banks in anger about the ongoing economic crisis. And as you said there, the Lebanese Red Cross, they said 140 people they treated on the spot, and over 80 they had to send to hospital today. The Lebanese Red Cross was on its highest possible alert system for the entire evening. Things have calmed down now after hours and hours of protests, but many people injured and much anger on both sides after what's happened today in Beirut.
Leila, you called this the most violent day yet, but why exactly is it ramping up now and getting more violent now?
So there's a couple of reasons. We saw a bit of a lull over the Christmas and New Year period, and then this week things started up again, partly because it's now been a month since Hassan Diab was nominated the new prime minister, and Lebanon's been under a caretaker government without an official government since the 29th of October when the former prime minister resigned. Hassan Diab had said that within a month he would have a new cabinet, and that fell yesterday. Still no new cabinet after several promises that one would be announced yesterday, and suddenly the parliament once again saying too much political wrangling and they couldn't agree. So protesters furious that there is still no functional government. They've been calling for a long time for a government of technocrats, of specialists, rather than people serving for political interests. And meanwhile, while that's been happening, on the other side, we have this fast worsening economic crisis in Lebanon, which is getting so bad that people are losing their jobs, they're struggling to pay their rent, they can't buy daily necessities and feed their families. It really, really is becoming dire in the country. And as far as they see it, the politicians are just playing these games in Parliament, all trying to score points and make sure that the people they support are in the new cabinet, when what protesters want is an emergency government to come in and sort out this problem so that the economy doesn't nosedive anymore. As I said there, one of the reasons why the banks have been attacked all this week. So rage is heightening. And after today, many protesters are saying at this point, the politicians are using the security forces against us as their own personal force. We are the Lebanese people, and these security forces are meant to be there to protect us. They're not doing that. So from what protesters are saying, this will not scare them what happened today, and they're going to be back out on the streets tomorrow.
France 24's Leila Moulana Allen in Beirut. Thank you so much for that update.